Welcome back to Dime Comic Bros podcast. I am one of your two co-hosts, Jacob, joined by Spencer.
Hola.
We are here this week to talk about the comic news.
Yes, and Jacob is currently fighting off the Black Plague.
I'm dying.
He is literally dying, so this may be the last episode he's a part of.
One can only hope.
So kicking it off, we have a bunch of stuff from Marvel.com. In 2012, writer Cullen Bunn and artist Dalibor Talajek cemented themselves as one of the greatest and wildest Deadpool, you know what's on my brain, Deadpool creative teams with their blockbuster limited series, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, which was followed up by a highly demanded sequel, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe Again. This April, they'll finally reunite to complete their acclaimed trilogy in Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one last time. The Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe series ranks among the most famous and best-selling Deadpool sagas. Its no-holds-barred storytelling unleashes the craziest and deadliest side of everyone's favorite merc with a mouth. No one is off limits, and in its final installment, things are bigger and bloodier than ever, with an entire multiverse's worth of heroes for Wade Wilson to slice and dice. First, Deadpool killed every hero in the Marvel Universe. Then he killed every hero in another Marvel Universe. Well, now he's back, and this time slaughtering his way through Earth's mightiest heroes won't be enough. He's going after the worst of the worst, a whole multiverse of Marvel's greatest gone bad. Get ready for some world-breaking Hulks, werewolf Captain Americas, and some all-new twisted takes. The classic universe-slaughtering team of Cullen Bunn and Dalibor Talajek are back to kill everyone one more time. It is a 5-issue series, and it will be on sale April 2nd. I'm quite a big fan of this team. These books are really weird because they're super shallow. And usually I critique Deadpool books for being shallow in a way I don't like, but these ones are just a gore fest for the most part. But I love them. They're great. The art has always been fantastic. And I was kind of wondering if they were going to do a third book. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Go for it.
Fair.
In Blood Hunt, Dr. Doom outplayed Doctor Strange and stole the title of Sorcerer Supreme. As Doom uses his new mystical might to take over the entire Marvel Universe in one world under Doom, what will become of Strange? His fate is revealed in March in Doctor Strange of Asgard. The new ongoing series from writer Derek Landy and artist Carlos Magno takes Strange in a fantastical and ambitious new direction as he seeks to regain his glory and strength by becoming the first ever Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard. But Asgardian magic is more ancient and guarded than Midgard's, and Strange's bold attempts to master it will ignite a deadly power struggle between the sorcerers and the Golden Realm, including Loki. Join Strange as he races to solve a mystery that could disrupt the balance of magic forever, avoiding Thor's thunderous wrath and uncovering long-hidden secrets of Asgardian myth along the way. It's been a daunting prospect, taking the reins of Doctor Strange and leading him into a new era, Landy shared. To follow on from the last few years of stories, which have seen huge creative leaps from astonishing creative teams, would have been a terrifying prospect were it not for editor Alana Smith's primary instruction move him to Asgard. Suddenly we're in new territory where not only does Strange have to deal with Asgardian society on a street level, but he's also caught up in a murder mystery that he really doesn't have time for. Number 1 comes out March 5th. Thanks for the spoiler warning on Blood Hunt. Okay.
The book is out, man. It's the collected's been out for like a month.
Yeah, but not in the freaking red bin bloody Blood Hunt version.
Yeah, that's fair. I should check in on that.
I've been asking around. Nobody knows.
So this actually caught me really by surprise. I didn't see the initial announcement. I just saw a note in, I believe, the most recent issue of Immortal Thor that's like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange is in Asgard. Go read the other book. And I actually think this is a really cool idea. Like, it's interesting that the idea came from editorial, but it sounds like a very good idea for a shakeup. I mean, they did just recently kill him, have him lose the title, have him get it back, and then have about a year-long run, like co-Sorcerer Supreming with Clea, which I followed about half of and quite enjoyed. So this is pretty cool. I don't have a great track record with Derek Landy's books, so I'm a little hesitant, but the new suit looks pretty cool, and the concept sounds fucking awesome to me. 10 years ago, Marvel Comics and Star Wars reunited to redefine Star Wars comic book storytelling for a new age, and most of it's been goated as fuck. That's my addition. Now, following hit series set during the events of the original trilogy, Marvel Comics' Star Wars line enters bold new territory this May with the launch of a new flagship title set after Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Announced exclusively from StarWars.com, the new Star Wars #1 will be delivered by two acclaimed Star Wars storytellers, best-selling writer Alex Segura and superstar artist Phil Noto. The New Republic defeated the last remnants of the Empire at the legendary Battle of Jakku, which they just did a series about, and that just wrapped up. But the greatest threats to its success are just emerging in this transformative period of Star Wars lore that fans have long been eager to witness. Join the franchise's most iconic characters as they navigate a galaxy brimming with distrust, conspiracy, and mystery. From Luke's early challenges in restoring the Jedi Order to Leia and Han's continuing romance that led to the birth of Kylo Ren, sex, this new landscape of stories represents Marvel's most revelatory contributions to the Star Wars mythos yet, and fans can look forward to additional series set during the same time frame to launch later this year. Star Wars #1 goes on sale May 7th. So originally, when the Battle of Jakku books were announced, not that long ago, I thought that was a really cool way to soft launch into this new, I guess, unknown period. I didn't think they were going to actually follow it up with an ongoing, but this could go one of two ways. Either it's going to be hated or it could be really beloved. Like, theoretically, sitting in our perspective now, we could get a similar, not the same, but a similar reaction to the sequel trilogy in 10 years, as we did with the prequels after the Clone Wars came out, and we had a bunch of additional material that really supplemented the stuff we didn't like from the original the films. It's not quite the same, but I am starting to soften, to be entirely honest. With the amount of material they've been putting out around and between Rise of Skywalker, I still don't like its innate premise and all of that junk, but a lot of the supplementary material has been very good. So I guess trying to charge into this new era that's basically all Disney, it's a bold move. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off.
Hopefully it's solid enough that they can do a movie or something to explain, to fill in that gap for normal people like me, because I'm probably not going to read this for years and years and years and years.
That's fair. There are definitely some ways to get a lot of that information, but I think, unironically, the movie that is next coming out, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is a stupid ass title, is set during this period and is obviously more a culmination of those series that also take place around this time period, but they're doing kind of a redux of Heir of the Empire with Thrawn and all that stuff. So I have a feeling that will help with that. And I'm actually getting more positive about that movie because they finished filming months ago, and it's going to have more time, triple the time in post-production than any of the sequel movies had. The sequel movies were pumped out really fast and had 6 months in post. This Dave Filoni directed movie that nobody really asked for is getting a year and a half in the editing bay. So, Dang. Yeah, I guess they learned some lessons. I'm sure it'll still be filled with Dave Filoni-isms, but I think that might help bridge that gap. Or at least I hope it does.
We got a Daredevil Born Again trailer.
Hey.
Releases March 4th, and it stars everybody.
Yes, and a new poster, which is now my phone wallpaper.
Wow, I'm so surprised.
You speak first, so I don't be dickhead and talk over you.
It looked good. I can't wait. Your turn.
That's valid.
I literally didn't have a voice up until yesterday. I was at work. Today's Sunday, Friday night, like crying, and like it looked like I was yelling, but I was coming out as a whisper, like just trying to make noise. So I'm gonna try to take it easy today.
That's fair. I agree. I'm obviously this is my most anticipated like comic book related project to this year. Followed closely by Superman, but this is definitely the top of my list. I thought that the trailer looked fantastic. I still have some concerns about a little bit of some of the production like stylings, but most of it does look like they are trying pretty hard to evoke the Netflix series, but just they're doing it through it's a different production studio. It's different people involved. Like you're not going to recapture the magic. So it looks like they're trying enough to evoke some similar imagery, but also bring it to a new place. And I think that that's really cool. The new suit looks great. He still needs the double Ds. I really like the sit down between Fisk and Matt. I think it's really interesting because we've had this, like, I believe it's canonically 6 or 7 years. I believe neither of them were blipped like during any of that period. So there's been so much stuff that's happened between the events of the last series and the couple of appearances that these characters have made. So there's so much like new backstory we get to get filled in on. The main plot line, obviously, of Fisk running for mayor is surprisingly topical, but also that was teased pretty well in Echo, and it's also a recent storyline from the comics that was really well received. So that's all cool stuff. I creamed. You know me.
Who's he banging?
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
It is an established character from the comics, but also Matt is a whore. But apparently they've described this as like an actually healthy relationship, so I'm sure that won't last.
Interesting.
I'm really interested to see how they use Muse, which is a very new antagonist, who's like a serial killer that does artwork. He's really strange, but I think that intersecting with the political aspects is really cool. I hope that they handle that well. It was really cool to see Frank again. Bro looks like he's seen some shit. I really hope, this is a dumb thing, but I really hope that they just make Frank and Karen like not official because that's never going to be a thing, but like stop dancing around it and just like let them admit that they like each other, because just do it. Like, come on. I love that pairing. Like, I don't know. I'm still looking forward to this. I'm trying to be reserved about it because there's still a lot of things that can go wrong, but it does look like it is a lot higher effort than a lot of the Disney Plus stuff. Obviously, there was the massive creative overhaul. They've been doing a lot more like public and positive press from like the actors being a lot happier with what they've been doing. Season 2 just started filming as well. So bro, we're so back. Like this is nearly like Snyder Cut levels of we're so back for me. And then moving on to DC. After I get a little drinky drink. Slurp. Eisner Award-winning writer Ram V and artist Another RK, I'm sorry, are bringing back one of DC's most enigmatic superheroes this April, as DC announced plans to publish Resurrection Man Quantum Karma, a DC Black Label limited series. This 6-issue prestige format series reintroduces readers to Mitch Shelley, the Resurrection Man. Originally created by Dan Abnett, Andy Lanning, and Jackson Butch Goose, or I don't know how to say that name. Shelley is a man who has led thousands of lives, and with each death he is resurrected with a new superpower based on the previous cause of death. After living and dying his latest life, Shelley awakes with a new purpose to go along with his latest power, saving the universe. This version of Resurrection Man must battle across time and space against a sadistic World War II internment camp captain who has inherited a twisted version of Shelley's abilities. I am sensing a vicious circle a little bit. As the lines of cosmic order begin to blur, Mitch Shelley will literally die to save the multiverse more than once. The art for this shit looks incredible. I have only heard about this character and I've never read anything, but I might buy this by issue.
I looked up more pictures than the one that you included in the news that our listeners can see for themselves if they go over to Substack and subscribe there to our show. The opening cover that they have, I'm kind of iffy on. I don't really like that one. But every other piece of artwork that they have as an example in this article is incredible. Absolutely crazy stuff. So, yeah, I've never heard of this character, but his gimmick sounds very interesting. And it's Ram V. You can't really go wrong. So, yeah, I might get this issue by issue. This looks really, really good. All right, from DC.com, DC announced a new ongoing comic book series, Superman Unlimited, by Dan Slott and Raphael Albuquerque, launching in May 2025. Dan Slott, known for his expansive world building as the writer of Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, She-Hulk, Mighty Avengers, Superior Spider-Man, and more, makes his DC ongoing comic book series debut with Superman Unlimited. It will be a driving force and key title in DC's upcoming All-In Summer of Superman publishing initiative, along with DC's Action Comics and Superman comic book series and more. Look for Summer of Superman news in the coming weeks. Superman Unlimited #1 will be available at local comic book shops and online retailers on Wednesday, May 21st. And the new ongoing series will launch with a 10-page prelude by Slott and Albuquerque in DC All-In 2025 Free Comic Book Day Special Edition #1 on Saturday, May 3rd, as part of DC's Free Comic Book Day programming. This is the perfect time for both regular comic book readers and new readers to jump on board for an all-new era for Superman. He's the first and the greatest superhero of all time, and I've been waiting my whole life to tell stories about him, said Slott. Not just because of all the amazing powers he has, but because of who he is inside. Raphael and I are going to take him and you to places you'll want to escape to every month. Millions of surprising ideas for Superman, Lois, the supporting cast, classic rogues, and all new friends and foes too. If you've never read a Superman book, a DC book, or any comic book before, or if you've been a Superman fan your entire life, you couldn't ask for a better place to take the leap and go all in on Superman Unlimited #1. To kick off DC's Superman Unlimited series in May, a massive extinction-level kryptonite asteroid showers Superman's greatest weaknesses down upon the Earth, creating an arms race for the most valuable resource on the planet, Green K. The greater availability of kryptonite in the DC universe changes the balance of power in the criminal empires of Metropolis and across the globe. Intergang, under new leadership, is on the rise, with practically all their foot soldiers carrying at least one clip of kryptonite bullets on them. The asteroid left massive kryptonite deposits to be mined, and it houses unlimited horrors yet to be unpacked. To survive, Superman will need to forge new alliances, new tech, and new tactics if he hopes to carry on his quest for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
So there's a bunch of pontificating about why they want to do the book. That's the usual, which is all good and stuff. As a big Superman glazer myself, couldn't say it any better. But the actual plot sounds really cool. Like rapidly changing the entire power dynamic of Metropolis, and not instead of depowering Superman, but upgrading everybody else sounds really cool.
I'm sure there won't be any beans in that book.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. Especially not from Dan Slott. He's never done that before.
No, never.
Another thing from the Summer of Superman the World comes out on June 24th. The Man of Tomorrow usually soars through the skies in Metropolis, but no matter where a cry for help comes from, Superman will always be there to save the day. In the tradition of critically acclaimed anthologies Batman the World and Joker the World, witness what makes Superman an international symbol of truth, justice, and hope with the global release of Superman the World on June 24th. Renowned Superman storytellers Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks join a team of 15 international creators to tell tales that highlight what makes Superman the greatest superhero of all time. The Superman the World is scheduled to launch day and date in the following territories: Brazil, Mexico, France, Germany, Spain, Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Turkey, India, Cameroon, Poland, the Czech and Slavic republics, and Argentina. Now, this is the shit that these anthologies were made for. This is the character that this shit is like designed for. International Joker, okay, whatever you say, Chief. Superman, yes.
You can't even point on a map where Montenegro is.
That is true, but that's because I'm an American. But I know that it is a place because that's why I know how to say it. I know that it is a thing.
We both failed geometry class. From Deadline.
I got it. It's another short one. You're fine. I'm not gonna your voice.
From Deadline.com, Jason Momoa is gonna play Lobo.
We also saw this one coming. He's been begging for it forever.
For years, yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. He's gonna do a very good job at it.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It also sounds like Lobo might have a slightly larger role in Woman of Tomorrow than was like initially in the book, so that's pretty cool.
It's so weird to me that apparently he's like a giant teddy bear, but he plays some really asshole roles. It's very funny.
No, for sure. From IGN.com, with the Ultimates recently winning IGN's Best Comic Book Series or Original Graphic Novel of 2024 award, it's safe to say we're eagerly looking forward to whatever new projects writer Denny's Camp has lined up. March 2025 is quickly shaping up to be a big month for Camp. Not only are Camp and artist Javier Rodriguez preparing to launch Absolute Martian Manhunter at DC, he is also cooking up a new sci-fi anthology series at Image Comics called Assorted Crisis Events. Assorted Crisis Events sees Camp team up with artist Eric Zawadowicz from Heart Attack and House of L, colorist Jordi Belair, one of the GOATs, They're Not Like Us, and Birds of Prey, and letterer Hassan Otsami Elhao from Time Before Time and Poison Ivy. This ongoing anthology series explores how the collapse of time and space affects ordinary people just trying to make their way through life. In other words, it offers a very different perspective on the cosmic spectacle of stories like Crisis on Infinite Earths. Assorted to Crisis Events is like Crisis on Infinite Earths if it was happening to normal, everyday people, or Black Mirror if the fabric of space and time were breaking down, said Camp in a statement. But going deeper, Assorted Crisis Events has been one of the most ambitious and rewarding creative experiences of my life. The challenge of making every issue complete and personal and inventive while making it play out the larger story of the crisis, what is causing it, can be solved. Who is the broken man? Across the series can be thrilling. Every member of the creative team adds so much to every issue. No one is just doing a job. They're all artists in the truest sense, and I think every issue ranks among some of the best I've ever been a part of. If you've liked anything I've written before, please pick this up. You will not be disappointed. Assorted Crisis Events number 1 will release on March 12th. I am super hyped for this. One, because Camp skyrocketed to one of my favorite writers right now, obviously because of Ultimates. I am riding the hype train. But also, this sounds like a phenomenal idea from like a third-party publisher. Like, what if one of these big, universe-ending events happens, but like you're just a normal person. What does that look like? Like we always see, the fights in space and the world blowing up, and it's like, but what if just the apocalypse is happening and you're just a dude trying to get groceries? Like, fuck yeah.
So many jokes I could make right now. Have you seen the news today? Tax season's almost upon us.
He was just trying to go buy some beans, man.
Right.
Oh, Camp got the beans, that's for sure.
Do I really need to read all that? What do we got? Oh, all right. Exclusive from Variety.com, Netflix adaptation of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman will end with its upcoming second season. The release plan for season 2 will not be impacted by the cancellation, and the episodes are still set for a 2025 release. Confirmation of the show's conclusion comes on the heels of several sexual misconduct accusations leveled at Gaiman, who created the Sandman DC Comics and developed the TV series.
I think we saw this coming when the allegations came out.
Oh, yeah. And like I said when I sent the link, it's like it took a long time for them to announce this. Like, I still haven't even seen anything from DC, but Dark Horse almost immediately was like, nope, fuck this guy. So
yeah, obviously we don't cover a lot of the controversies or like allegations on this show. It's just something we try to stray away from. But the Neil Gaiman story is really worth something worth looking into. There is a phenomenal article. It's a ginormous expose. 1, excellent journalism, and 2, holy shit, this is like yeah, it's bad. It's really fucking bad. So fuck him, which I never thought I'd say, because genuinely Neil Gaiman has been one of my not just favorite like artists or writers or whatever, but like kind of an idol in a sense of like his personal behavior that I have witnessed. He's always seemed like a really good guy to be around, and turns out no. It makes sense the show is getting canned. They did put together like a damage control statement of like, we think we ran out of story to tell about Dream, and like I get why they would do that instead of just saying it's because the showrunner of this show is like a fucking rapist. But I hope that they wrap it up okay. If they probably, it's still in the editing room, so they probably can kind of tie it off. Yeah. There's one more thing that I didn't include in the news because it didn't feel necessary to put a quote on, but we finally got the first teaser trailer for 2025 Superman, and I am not killing myself this year. It's gonna be great. It looks good. I'm so hype. I'm hyped on an artistic level. I'm hyped on an emotional level. I get the vibe they're going for. I fuck with the vibe. I'm literally gonna buy like 15 tickets to the IMAX showing and just find people to go with me.
I wish Crypto was a bigger dog, but I get it. I don't really like small dogs though in general.
That's fair. I guess that is actually a pretty large part of the trailer. I think we mentioned it at some point during the production of the movie, but this Crypto is like was written into the movie and then modeled on a dog that Gunn adopted like during the production of the movie, and I think that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever done. It's also
that's the second sweetest thing. The first one is Aragorn adopting his horse and like every other horse.
That's true. Yeah, that's just really cool. I like how front and center it is. The action looks really cool. The suit does look really good in motion with our kind of hesitancies. It does look good in the way they're using it. The camera work looks bonkers. So John Murphy, I believe is his name, the composer who's doing the movie, did the what we hear is a new cover of the John Williams theme, it is not the new Superman theme that they're using, which they have released, which has hints of both Williams and the Hans Zimmer score, which I love. Like, I love that so much. But holy shit, this trailer got me so hyped. Like, the Daredevil trailer was a really good trailer for what it was. Like, I'm excited for the show. It was a solid, like, piece of marketing. This trailer was nearly like the Batman teaser trailer levels of like hype and excitement. I say this all the time, but yeah, like dead ass got emotional. I was on the floor. I'm just like, holy shit. I life is worth living because Superman exists. And I
wish
texted,
Colin was here right now.
That's true, but also he low-key did the same thing.
It doesn't matter. He'd still be shit talking you.
Oh, 100%. I like immediately texted our buddy Jeff, a patron of this show, actually, and we both had like the same reaction of like, I'm gonna go write so much. I'm gonna go work on my art projects, and I'm gonna be a good person. And like, that's exactly what we need. That's the fucking point. So if the movie delivers on that, I guess I'm just never gonna kill myself. I guess I'm just gonna live until I die.
All right. Calm down. You don't need to tell me lies. I watched a movie.
What'd you watch?
I watched Nosferatu the Vampyre.
Wait, that's the one from the 70s, right?
Yes, correct.
That's it's Werner Herzog.
Yes, very good. I thought I was gonna get you for a second, but nope.
You can't outflank me.
It came out in 1979. It stars Isabelle Adjani. Do you know what she's from?
No.
Haha. She was the only person I recognized. She is the crazy waifu from Possession. So, no wonder why I was scared and horny. This movie basically retells Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like, almost beat for beat. There were a couple of weird changes, especially near the end. The lore on how to kill Dracula was very, very different. There was no garlic to be seen. And it was like the freaking love of a pure-hearted virgin will keep Dracula up long enough to see the sun or something. Some weird prophecy to kill him. This movie focuses on some very long shots. It feels like a very long movie because it moves slowly with these very long panning shots. And some of them are effective. There's one where Jonathan Harker is in bed and Dracula is in the corner, and you're like, you can see everything in frame, and it's really spooky. And he just he's seemingly standing there, but he's like inching his way closer and closer and closer. And it was actually kind of spooky. But then like halfway through, Jonathan wakes up and stares at him as he's inching closer for what feels like 10 more minutes. And that's the weird part of these long shots. There are very long sections where characters stare at each other. And I only figured out after I saw the movie that it was like shot for shot basically remaking the old silent movie version. So it was trying to evoke that long shot of like characters talking to each other before the card appears on screen of what they're actually saying. But I don't like it. It didn't translate well. Those long shots of the characters staring at each other happened often, and it felt really freaking weird. I guess it was just drawn, overplayed, I guess, would be how I would describe it. I get it. It's a cool idea to try to make an homage to that, but it was overdone and overplayed, I think. But as far as like the scary horror shots went, it was surprisingly effective. It was really cool. And yeah, that was it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I haven't seen. I think this is the first like actually named Nosferatu movie I've seen. So maybe I jumped in at the wrong spot because a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, the director did such a great homage to all the other ones." But me, it was well made. It's good, but yeah,
It didn't tickle your pickle.
it was just fine. It was so steeped in the really long shots that it's like, okay, I get it, but what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
And that's what he was trying to do.
Fair. You're gonna love the new one.
Yeah.
I read Somna, which I know that you reviewed on this show not super duper long ago, but it is the first distillery book to finally be put in its hardcover form and fully collected. This massive new company putting out really cool fucking concept shit. So it's original.
The only one that they've put into different hardcover formats, like excessively.
Yes. I blame that on it winning an Eisner, and then they needed to put a deluxe edition. I blame that. So I bought the hardcover. I'll do it backwards. I bought the hardcover off of Amazon. I know. It was half price, though. It was $15, and for that, it was a fucking steal. Cover price is $30, which I do think is perfectly reasonable for books of this type and like size and build or whatever. But yeah, so not to tread over territory where you've really been before, but yeah, it follows a woman in the 1600s English village during the witch trials. Her husband is a witch hunter, and it is a blending of literal and non-literal like internal struggles with puritanical standards and some supernatural stuff. And I fuck with it, but I do agree with you that I think it doesn't land great. Like, there's certain flatly one. This is written and drawn by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lote. They both do both parts, and it is incredible. It's fucking gorgeous, and the writing is really good. The dialogue is fantastic. The dream sequences are incredible. The book got me like really, it got its hooks in me. But the way that the, I guess, real plot plays out is definitely a little more paint by numbers than I expected, which is, it's not bad. It was just like, oh, like so much of this was really, really carefully crafted and felt very deeply emotional and not necessarily personal in a literal sense, but like emotional and like trying to engage with the witch trials as a historical event, but also the perspective of that as a woman, but also actually trying to throw some witchcraft in there to make it fun. And I think most of it works really well. It's just, yeah, there's a little bit right at the end where I'm like, oh, that definitely knocks it down a peg.
It would have been so much better if they just took the ending from the witch, where she just starts floating for no fucking reason. Like, it doesn't even have to make sense. Just give us something instead of woman is smart, we must kill her, she's a witch.
Yeah. What was my other thing? I actually, I think this comes up a lot with me, especially recently, but I really appreciate how like erotic this book is, but also it's really good at, one, not being weird, which is kind of a given because it's written and drawn by women.
That's what I was going to say, yes.
Like, if that's a primary reason, but also because it is about the back and forth and the uncomfortable feelings of like repressed desire and societal standards and like all of that. I actually think it did really well at not just going like, yay, woman be free. It's like there's so many other things at play going on. It simultaneously is erotic and also kind of creepy. And I think that part really, really drew me in. I will 100% reread this. Like, this is definitely a strong opener for this imprint. I was just a little disappointed by the same element. I just don't think it dragged it down quite as much for me as it did for you. I gave it 4 out of 5. This is a good book to recommend, I guess, to people who don't read comics. I think like this is a really good standalone like graphic novel, like 100%. It just has like one criticism that's like, shucks.
Hey, you're unhappy in your marriage. You should read this comic book.
Oof. So yeah, like this was really good. Like I would say great. It's just that one thing just does bug me. I still think about it, but the imagery, especially in this book, is stuck in my head. Whether it be the erotic imagery or the spooky imagery or the combination of both, like it's stuck. And I guess that is one of the highest praises I guess I can give a book in that sense, especially from an art perspective. It stuck with me. And I actually read this a few weeks ago. So, like, it slaps.
Well, you know what else was like a slap in the face?
Oh, dear God, no.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it. I watched Joker Face, the movie. Joker 2, Folie, Deux.
Oh, you saw it before me? No.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't. I've been putting it off because I know I'm going to have really weird feelings about it. Oh, God. Lay it on. Lay it on me. Lay it on me, Daddy. Let's go.
I was happily surprised.
What?
I liked this movie a lot better than I thought I would. Famous opinion of the show is that I didn't like the first Joker movie directed by Todd Phillips, and it's such a famous opinion because I actually turned Spencer around on it. He liked it at first and then listened to what I had to say. It was like, oh, actually, you're right, and that's in a relationship ever. So that was exciting. And yeah, I've been putting off watching this movie for a long time too, because a lot of people said it's stinky poo poo, and it kind of is. It's not the greatest movie ever, but the resounding review that I heard about this movie is that it was kind of made for the people that enjoyed the first movie and was like, you shouldn't have enjoyed it. And that's what this movie was, like, trying to show people why they were wrong for glorifying the first movie. And I guess that's why I like this one. It throws Arthur Fleck in jail, and he's going through a court case for everything that he did in the first one. And at first I was like, oh, it's just redoing the first movie because it's Arthur in a bad situation that he had no control over for the most part. Like, it's dealing with corrupt cops or whatever and the legal system and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but it felt like it didn't just gloss over the first one. And there were definitely choices that could have been made to make Joker get away with it, or even like to just forget about things from the first one. And it sticks to how ugly or how bad things in the first one like happened, and it deals with it. There are consequences, and I'm very excited about that. I felt justified in not liking the first one.
That's interesting. Adding on one little tidbit to that, I think part of that is because Todd Phillips didn't want to make this movie. They basically begged him to, and he said, "Fine, I'll fucking do it, and I'm gonna make it, like, every moment of this misery." Like, he didn't like how popular the first one was.
Yeah.
So, like, there's so much spite in this, and that's one of those weird things. I'm like, I'm gonna have weird feelings about this.
I guess the most directorial spite I felt while watching it were the unnecessary musical numbers.
Yeah, he also said he didn't want to make a musical, and then they're like, nope, making a musical.
Weird. I defended it most of the way through. Like, you've got Lady Gaga in the roster. Like, you can't not have her sing. But the way they did it was fine. It's how Joker views the world in this movie. It's his delusion, which is okay. But a lot of the songs go on for a while, and it's like, okay, it could have been a ditty, not a whole song. I don't know. It's still stinky poo-poo, but it's nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be, and not as bad as I'd heard. I probably won't watch it again. I don't think I've watched the first one again. Maybe I saw it a second time, just to like make sure I wasn't crazy. But yeah, I won't watch it again, but it still got 3.5 stars.
That's not bad. That's higher than I expected.
It looks really good too. There was a lot of detail put into the lighting, especially. I really liked the work that they put into like lights and shadows in the movie. It looked good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think especially that makes me so conflicted with at least the first one, especially, is like the director of photography and Todd Phillips work really well together, especially because Todd Phillips has never made movies like this. He's like a comedy guy. But like the visuals are off the charts, and then it's just like so much of the writing is like, this is weird and nebulous.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh god, that shot is so fucking gorgeous.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So if I remember correctly, the first movie cost $70 million, and we know it made more money than Jesus. And then this one cost like $200 million, and it bombed so fucking hard. It's ridiculous.
It got like $60 million, I think.
Yeah, it's so bad. So I mean, it's at least I guess Todd Phillips isn't making another one. He got out of that.
For sure.
Very interesting. I just forgot what I did for a second because I'm stupid. I thought I had it locked in my brain.
I was playing video games with Colin this week, and I said that I was like halfway through it and talking about it, and he too said that he was putting off watching it because of just how awful it sounded like. I think it's funny that all three of us waited a year to watch it, at least.
It also left the theater after about 5 minutes because it made so little money. Oh, that's what it was. I read Spectregraph. I won't spoil because I know Jacob hasn't finished this. It is another distillery book by Ramsey and Christian Ward. Nope, sorry, James Tynion and Christian Ward. It's 4 issues. The hardcover isn't out yet, obviously, but the 4th issue came out pretty recently. I really like this book. It is about a house that is made to make ghosts. Beyond that is very metaphysical and spoilery. It's a really cool concept. I really liked the characters in it. There are 2 primary protagonists. They're both women that are trapped inside the house for the A plot, and we have a lot of flashbacks for the man who bought and made the house the way that it is, and his relationship kind of falling apart. It's a really good character study on character study on like the desire for immortality and legacy and all of that stuff, and how it's not even just vain. It runs deeper than that. It's so fucking pointless. Like, the book is it ends in a very positive sense, but it's so doo-doo dog shit on like, I must build a legacy for myself and I want to live forever. And it's like, fucking go home and like play with your kids. Go be a person. And I really like that. The art is out of this world. Christian Ward is my favorite artist right now by a wide margin. He puts together some incredible panel work in this book. Very trippy stuff. Very gross. Very unsettling. Yeah, no, this I'm stuck between like a 9 and a 10 for this one. I think 2 issues I gave 4 out of 5, and 2 of them I gave a 5 out of 5. The ending is a little not perfect, but not like even bad. It's like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
So there's 4 issues to this?
It is 4 issues.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, stellar stuff. I liked it more than Somna. I guess I'm just on a distillery kick recently, I guess, like whatever.
They make really good shit.
They do, and I just read, I won't tell you anything, but the current one I'm on, like my pull list, is You Won't Feel a Thing. Holy fucking shit, the first issue is so fucking good. I'm so into this. It's
I can't wait.
It's nuts.
I still have Jack's Life on my Amazon wish list because that took forever to get printed to begin with, and I never even like saw it in the local comic shops. It's one of like, I don't know, it didn't get a whole lot of attention, and I really want to read it. Go ahead, continue.
I bought each issue for cover price at my local comic shop, so I think $8 or $9 a piece.
Sorry, Gone, not Life.
What?
I'm stupid. It's Gone.
Oh.
Not
Gone.
Life.
Oh, yes. That is also on my pull list. Not my pull list, my wish list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I paid like $36 or whatever in total. The hardcover is so going to be worth it. This is a career highlight for both the writer and the artist. And it's James Tynion, so every book is a career highlight. And it's Christian Ward, so every book is a career highlight. But damn, these two work together so fucking well.
The listing for the hardcover for Spectregraph is already on Amazon. It's going to be $35.
That seems reasonable.
The Devil's Cut is also here for $30.
Yeah, I think it's just depending on how many issues are in each one. I think it's either 30, 35, or 40, depending on the total count.
It makes sense.
I like that they have a clear pricing system as well. I like that. Yeah, this is a phenomenal book. Recommend it for anybody into horror or body horror, existential dread. I don't know. You're depressed. Your marriage is bad. Read this book. Yeah, this is great. Speaking of my local comic book shop, a big shout out to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, where I get copious amounts of comic books that I need to cut back on, but I won't because I'm in love with the medium.
And also you need the copium.
I do need the copium. This is what keeps me running. Like every my fuel is not just White Monster and Zins. It is also comic books. They like in Back to the Future. They have to be put in the food processor that can make anything into fuel. It's just comic books. Try to shop local. Shop at your local like hobby stores. They're great places filled with great people. Jetpack is awesome. And also a thank you to our patrons.
Wait, before you do Patreon. I am lucky that I'm so far from home. Because I will fear for my life for a while for putting classic Nosferatu and Joker 2 full of a deuce, like the same rating. I fear that Jeff Lorenz is gonna come kill me in my sleep. He's like that.
That is true. He would probably just travel up there to kill you anyways.
That's true.
We don't hear from him from weeks on end, so who knows?
And then he just shows up and is like, how dare you give Nosferatu anything less than 5 stars?
Watch him actually not like that one.
It's still on his watch list, so he doesn't know yet.
Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, a shout out to our patrons, Jeff Lawrence and Caitlin. They're friends of the show. They've been around for a long time. If you want to help financially support this show so we can financially support our local comic shops, that would be awesome. We have a bunch of cool rewards like early access to episodes. Now that we're back on schedule, I fixed it. We're good.
Listen, it's been 2 weeks. Calm down. We can still break it again.
Well, I mean, DGB is a different story, but we're also working on that one. Yeah, so early access to episodes when we actually release them on time. Exclusive access to happy hour segments, where after most podcasts we crack open a beer or pop a zinni and talk about whatever comes into our little pea brains. It could be more comic stuff. It could be politics and beans and deep stuff. It's never that. No. It could be me having some random rant about some random bullshit I saw this week, or Colin usually telling me to eat his ass over anything I say, which is very common. It's a great time. It is low-key one of the best parts of doing this whole shindig, and that is exclusive to our Patreon, as well as cool stuff like stickers and bookmarks designed by Colin, who, when he shows up, is the dopest ass artist like ever. Not just because he's my buddy, but also because he is the dopest assist artist ever, with the dopest assist, because you can see it from the front. You know how it is.
He has shitted out like 4 pages of his new comic book this week. It's been crazy.
He's been, and last week he was also doing a lot. He's been on the ball. So
his heart is going to explode from all that cocaine.
Oh, 100%. Or he'll just turn into Stephen King. Maybe we should do an intervention.
Not yet. Let him finish the book first.
That's fair. Next podcast will be something. It'll be a something. And you'll find out.
It'll definitely happen, probably.
It definitely will probably happen. At least 2 of us will be there. I think it's another topic episode. I don't remember. Whatever. We'll figure it out, as we always do. Thank you for listening and all that good stuff. Make sure to go check out our Substack as well, where Jacob puts a lot of effort into typing out a summary and a follow-along for all of our episodes with some cool visuals and links to all of the fun stuff. That can be found at dimecomicbros.substack.com or something like that. Just Google us. Don't worry about it.
You can find it.
It's pretty obvious.
Onward to happy hour.
I actually can't. I don't have enough time. We've been on a hot streak. But I have to take a shower and stuff because I have a thing. So I'm Zowie Pookie.
Yes, okay.